Tonight, our top focus, a question that goes to the heart of the criminal justice system in this country and indeed the country's war against terror. The Bombay High Court has acquitted all the 12 accused in the 2006 Mumbai train bombings case in which 189 people were killed. It overturned a lower court verdict that awarded the death sentence to 5 accused and life terms to 7 others. The High Court has torn into the police investigation, highlighted what they said were many basic lapses. At the end of the day, my friends, 189 people have been killed. No one, it seems, is guilty. What does it say about our criminal justice system and indeed the war against terror? It's our top story tonight.
July 11th, 2006. A day Mumbai will never forget. 7 bombs, 11 minutes. Mumbai's lifeline, its suburban trains turned into corridors of carnage. The bombs were hidden in pressure cookers triggered on moving trains. Over 180 lives lost, hundreds injured in one of India's deadliest terror attacks. And now, nearly 2 decades later, a stunning twist. The Bombay High Court acquits all the 12 convicted by a lower court in the 7/11 train blasts case. A special bench of Justices Anil Kilor and Shyam Chandak observed that the prosecution utterly failed to prove guilt beyond reasonable doubt. The court said it's hard to believe the accused committed the crime. The court did not find the statement by witnesses to be reliable. The court has ordered the release of all, including the 5 who were on death row. One suspect had died in prison during the pandemic.
Confession involuntary था, torture था, witnesses जो थे वो 100 दिन बाद आए and reliable नहीं थे, recovery discovery जो है वो कायदे के हिसाब से नहीं की गई। 19 साल बाद इस केस का फैसला हाई कोर्ट से आया। ट्रायल कोर्ट ने इसमें से 5 लोगों को डेथ सेंटेंस दिया था, फांसी की सजा, बाकी 7 लोगों को उम्र कैद दिया था, 1 एक्विटल हुआ था। कस्टडी में 12 लोग थे, 12 में से एक डेथ सेंटेंस वाला कमाल अंसारी की डेथ हो गई थी, तो 11 लोग थे। आज इन सब को कोर्ट ने एक्विट कर।
ओरिजिनल लोग जब नहीं मिले।
India Today spoke with Mohammed Sajid Ansari, acquitted after 19 years. Ansari said he was framed by the anti-terrorism squad.
इंसाफ को सामने लाया। देखिए ये पूरा केस ही फेक है, शुरू से आखिर तक। अब इनको कुछ लोग चाहिए थे, मैं नहीं मिलता, किसी और को ये लोग बकरा बना देते, लेकिन वो होना था। अब यहाँ इत्तेफाक किया था कि मेरे ऊपर 2 केसेस थे पुराने और मैं इलेक्ट्रॉनिक इंजीनियर था। इस वजह से मुझसे अच्छा कोई इनको मिला ही नहीं। इसके लिए मेरे खुद बहनों ही हैं, अब्दुल वाहिद भाई, वो भी हाँ जो एक्विट हो चुके हैं वो ट्रायल कोर्ट से ही 2015 के अंदर, तो उनके ऊपर भी 1-2 केसेस इस तरह के थे।
आपको पहले से विश्वास था कि जो केस है वो झूठा है?
यस, पहले से विश्वास था हमको कि ये केस झूठा बनाया गया है, टॉर्चर करके किया गया है। जो भी इनसे कन्फेशन लिया गया वो सब सारा टॉर्चर करके लिया गया और हमको यकीन था इंशाल्लाह यानी कोर्ट हमारे हक में फैसला करेगी।
पाकिस्तानियों के साथ इनका उठना बैठना था और वो इस लास्ट के अंदर उनका रोल नहीं था, लेकिन वो मीटिंग अटेंड करते थे, जबकि ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं था। उसको सिर्फ इम्प्लीकेट किया गया और हमारे कहने पे तू ये पेपर पे साइन नहीं करेगा तो तेरी फैमिली को अरेस्ट करेंगे, तेरी वाइफ को लेकर आएंगे, तेरे भाइयों को लाएंगे, तेरे भाई को, तेरे मम्मी पापा को लाएंगे, ऐसे फैमिली के नाम पे उसको धमकाया गया।
Convicted in 2015, acquitted in 2025. Many lives overturned and an investigation under the scanner. And the question that remains unanswered, who was behind the 7/11 Mumbai train blasts?
19 years after the Mumbai train blast, there are questions that still stare at the investigators. Who really was behind this entire terror attack? Who was the mastermind? Why was this terror attack done? All these questions remain unanswered even after 19 years because those who had been arrested by the anti-terrorism squad have been acquitted by the Bombay High Court. With cameraman Nitin Varne in Mumbai, Vidya for India Today.
And tonight, let's raise the big questions then here on the news today. Another blow to the war against terror when the accused after 18 years are completely acquitted. Criminal justice system failing in terror cases. Who is accountable for the total botch-up of cases like this? How will the families of train blast victims get justice? And if people are released after 18 years, how will they get justice for the years lost? Lots of big questions to be answered. Dr. Meeran Borwankar is former police commissioner, Pune. She was also in the Mumbai police at the time when this happened in 2006. Rizwan Merchant, senior criminal lawyer, one of the leading criminal lawyers of Mumbai. CA Chirag Chauhan is a survivor of the 7/11 bomb blast, suffered spinal injuries and was had to move around now on a wheelchair. And Dr. Waheed Shaikh is a lawyer and author of Beguna Kaidi. He was arrested and later acquitted in this case. So I appreciate all of you joining me on the show today. I just want to, before I come, just put those highlights of the Bombay High Court verdict because they are shocking. Prosecution utterly failed to establish offence beyond reasonable doubt. Unsafe to reach the satisfaction that accused have committed the offences. Prosecution created a false appearance of having solved the case. Deception by the prosecution undermines public trust. Difficult to accept witnesses could recollect the face of accused after such a long gap. Confessions were obtained by the police via inducement or threats. Text from one confession is copy-pasted, as is on the other confessions. Signatures of accused on confessional statements obtained forcefully. Prosecution failed to refute torture allegations. Confessions inadmissible in law. It's a trenchant critique of the Mumbai police, the prosecution, and the way it conducted the 7/11 case. Dr. Meeran Borwankar, as a distinguished police officer of the Maharashtra cadre, what do you have to say? The Mumbai police or the Maharashtra police and the government has egg on its face?
Yeah, no doubt I'm very shocked, Rajdeep. But I also want to understand how the special MCOC court, which tried the case, accepted all this evidence of witnesses, of the confession, of linking of all these accused, and gave death penalty to 5 and life sentence to 7. So something is definitely amiss, but I just can't pinpoint how one court gives death penalty and the higher court acquits altogether.
I take your point and I'll take that to Rizwan in a moment, but just the police, ma'am, the police itself, whether it's the anti-terrorism squad which first prosecuted this case, put the blame on Simi, Lashkar, Pakistan, said this was a Pakistan plot, then the crime bureau which said this was done by Indian Mujahideen a couple of years later. What does it say about our police system, ma'am, if you cannot prosecute and investigate such a high-profile case to ensure that the accused are convicted, or you catch the wrong accused?
So I was in the crime branch at that time. We had also brought some suspects. There is no doubt there were many sleeping cells. There were many active agents, and they were in fact confessing to us. Now they go back on they retract their confessions that they were trained in Pakistan, linking them together into a conspiracy and fixing them. Somewhere we have failed probably, but my question to you is that we could convince the special court MCOC. So that's a very big question. And I have no doubt in my mind that they were well-trained agents from across the border, because I have myself interrogated a few of them.
Okay, that is the question, Rizwan Merchant, that Meeran Chadda Borwankar is raising, that you have the special court, the trial court, which in 2015 convicts them, even gives death penalty some of the accused. What happens 10 years later? They are all acquitted for want of evidence, or the evidence is not good enough. What does that say now about the criminal justice system and the way courts operate?
Rajdeep, look, there are two things which are supposed to be looked into. I can understand the finding of the learned trial court has come into for a challenge. And the learned trial judge's findings have been corrected by the High Court. But the important thing is that all the material which formed a part of the charge sheet on the basis of which cognizance was taken before the MCOC court, on the basis of which all the accused were put to trial, were all compiled by the office of the investigating agency. It was right under the nose of the senior officers of the investigating agency. If they found that the material was insufficient, they should not have charged the accused. That is most important. Now, if you see one of the most important points and where the blunder of the police investigation team arises, kindly see, the test identification parade was held on the 7th of November 2006, 2006, yes, 7th of November 2006, by an SEO, Mr. Barve. Mr. Barve was not even authorized as a special executive officer to hold that particular test identification parade. His appointment as an SEO, according to the High Court judgment, expired on the 7th of May 2005, and that particular appointment was renewed on 15th of November 2006, that is after the test identification parade was concerned. The learned judge has severely erred in law. I understand and I agree, but the High Court has corrected it, and this happens to be one of the reasons why the test identification parade, which is such an important and vital exercise of identification of the perpetrators, has failed in law. And the courts have gone to the extent of saying that the doc identification in open court during the trial after so many years is insufficient. This
So is that deliberate or incompetence? Is it incompetence?
Incompetence.
Is it deliberate? What does it show?
Incompetence for the simple reason you should know who the SEOs are and who are valid SEOs with whom you can call for the purpose of holding a test identification parade. Where is the question of calling somebody who's not authorized to hold the test identification parade? Don't they have a record of who's valid and who's not? Who's authorized, who's not authorized? You pick up somebody whose appointment is already expired. What is the use of that evidence?
You know, all of this, before I come to my other guest, Meeraj Chadda Burvankar, to push you once again, it shows either that the police is incompetent, which one would like to believe they are not, or they simply are unable to crack these major high-profile cases. What is it? Why would so many errors, a series of errors, even the accusations are that confessions were copy-pasted, that there wasn't even the basic procedure followed. Basic procedural flaws have led to these to the accused being acquitted today.
So on the 2 points that confessions have copy and paste, you just cannot justify. It's a failure, we must admit. And then for the TIP, getting a special executive magistrate who at that particular time did not have the authorization, again, our mistake. But I can tell you, I have had a case where an 8 years old rape victim recognized me 4 years after the offense had taken place. So that is not acceptable to me, that a witness cannot. In this case, the child was only 8 years old and yet she recognized the accused after 4 years. So that particular part I don't accept. Otherwise, mistakes, yes. And I'm sure that...
Ma'am, these are blunders. I'm sorry to say these are blunders. 189 people died. Today they will get no closure. And I'll come back to you all because C.A. Chirag Chauhan, you are a survivor of those blasts. You suffered spinal cord injuries. You are on a wheelchair today. When you heard today that all the accused, all those who were convicted by a trial court have been acquitted, what was your first reaction, Chirag?
Personally speaking, I had already moved on, long back in my life and focusing on, other things like, studies and my practice. But when I heard about the news, I was very shocked that, oh, what's this happening? We are back to square zero. So after 19 years, if you come to know that we don't know who's accountable for, then that's a problem. It's a collective failure of the entire system, be it judiciary, be it investigation team, or be it government at the time.
Is there anger or a sense of hopelessness? Do you feel a sense of anger or hopelessness today?
Both. A bit anger also and completely hopelessness that what next? Who's accountable?
You know, Dr. Waheed Shaikh, you're a lawyer, author, Beguna Kaidi. You were among those who was initially arrested. You were among those accused and you were then let off. Do you believe today that what happens to all those who have spent 18 years in jail? Meeran Borwankar says there is enough, she still believes enough evidence that many of those who were accused and convicted did get training from across the border. Do you believe that the wrong people were caught or no one did the train blast? I mean, this is becoming like no one killed Jessica, no one did a terror attack.
देखिए, जहां तक कि इस ब्लास्ट का ताल्लुक है, इस केस के 13 अरेस्टेड एक्यूज पर्सन इंक्लूडिंग मी ये सब बेगुनाह है, इनका इस केस से कोई लेना देना नहीं है। मीरा बोरनकर मैडम जिस वक्त क्राइम ब्रांच की चीफ थी, उन्होंने भी इंट्रोगेट किया था, इस केस से किसी का कोई लेना देना नहीं है। अनफॉर्चुनेटली ये केस क्राइम ब्रांच से एटीएस को चला गया और एटीएस ने हम लोगों को इस केस के अंदर फ्रेम किया, टॉर्चर किया, कन्फेशनल स्टेटमेंट पर साइन ली, आरडीएक्स को प्लांट किया, विटनेसेस को खड़ा किया, झूठे विटनेस, हमारे रिश्तेदारों को, हमारे दोस्तों को झूठे विटनेस खड़े किए और ये गलत टीआईपी करके, गलत विटनेसेस खड़े करके हमको सजा दिलाने की कोशिश की। मेरा कोई कन्फेशनल स्टेटमेंट नहीं था, मेरे खिलाफ जो मेरे रिलेटिव्स को एक्यूज बनाया गया, उसने ट्रायल कोर्ट में आके डेयरिंग से कहा कि इस केस में वाहिद का कुछ लेना देना नहीं है, इसलिए कोर्ट ने मजबूरन मुझे उस वक्त एक्विटल कर दिया था। अगर मेरा गवाह, मेरा जो विटनेस जो गवाह बना था, मेरा जो रिलेटिव गवाह बना था, अगर वो पुलिस के दबाव में आकर गवाही देता तो मैं भी आज 19 साल तक जेल में रहता और मुझे भी सजा मिल जाती। लेकिन
आप कह रहे वाहिद आपको टॉर्चर किया गया, आपके जो रिलेटिव्स थे उनसे फोर्सिबल कन्फेशंस करने की कोशिश की गई, एटीएस ने करवाया। एटीएस जिसने कहा ये लश्कर, सिमी और उनके जो इर्द गिर्द है उनकी एक कंस्पिरेसी थी, उनको कहा आप कभी पाकिस्तान गए हैं वाहिद?
नेवर नेवर, मेरा ना कभी किसी लश्कर से, आईएसआई से, सिमी से कोई लेना देना नहीं था। ये पूरी
तो फिर आपको क्यों पकड़ा गया? नहीं तो फिर आपको क्यों, कोई तो कारण होगा, क्या वजह दी गई थी तब?
2001 में सिमी के नाम पर मुझ पर एक झूठा केस बनाया गया था, उसके आधार पे मुझे पकड़ा गया। वो केस 2013 में एक्विटल हो गया, उसकी कॉपी हमने कोर्ट के अंदर सबमिट की और 2015 में जो जजमेंट आया है वो गवाही नहीं दी मेरे रिलेटिव ने, इसलिए मुझे छोड़ दिया गया। मेरे खिलाफ कोई कन्फेशन नहीं था, इसलिए मुझे छोड़ दिया गया।
You know, I'm listening to Waheed today. आपने कितने साल जेल में गुजारे वाहिद?
मैंने 9 साल जेल में गुजारे, 2006 से 2015।
2006 से 15। Miran Borwankar, please answer. Who will give back Dr. Waheed Shaikh his years? At the end of the day, rule of law. We say the law is above all else. Today, the Maharashtra government is saying we will appeal to the Supreme Court. Fair enough. But what happens as of today? The accused are acquitted. They are innocent. Waheed Shaikh spent 9 years in jail. He claims today that he was tortured. He's written a book on it, and confessions were extracted forcibly by the ATS. What does it say again?
Rajdeep, मैं तो खुद ही कहती हूँ, I've been saying that whenever there is a case, please finish the trial within a year. In this particular case, okay, it was a complicated case. It did have agents from across the border because like Waheed has said, I have myself examined many of them. Of course, we didn't find enough evidence to charge sheet them. ATS found that particular evidence. But the point is that if you try the cases, even the MCOC case conviction is after 9 years and appeal is being settled after 19 years. So why blame only the police? I accept the blame.
Why blame the police? Because the ATS comes up with one finding, the crime branch comes up with another, and in the process, innocents can get caught. Many now believe the ATS was moving in one direction, the crime branch was moving in another. You all were saying Indian Mujahideen, the other group was saying Simi. At some stage, the police will also have to be held accountable.
No. We were, by the time ATS had been created in Maharashtra, so because crime branch had its own informants, we were bringing people and talking to them and interrogating. We never identified which particular organization is involved. Whenever we would find a person whom we felt is a suspect, we will just talk, interrogate. But we did not conclude about any organization.
Okay.
Total case was with ATS. And
total case,
mind you, ATS also had some of the best officers of Maharashtra police.
You know, to Rizwan Merchant, your view on this, what does this all say? You also put out the procedural points initially, which you say is incompetence. Is it just incompetence? Is there something more to it, Rizwan Merchant? When ATS gives one finding, crime branch comes with new findings, how do you respond? And you have someone like Waheed Shaikh who spent 9 years in jail.
Rajdeep, if you've seen the order of their lordships, Justice Kilor and Justice Chandak, they have essentially identified 4 issues which has led to this order of acquittal. One was procedural lapses, The other was unreliable witness testimonies. The third was torture-tainted confessions. And the fourth is mishandling of forensic evidence. All these 4 items essentially involve the participation of the investigating agency. If you the procedural lapses, those procedural lapses, who is responsible for it? Only those investigating officers who are supposed to ensure that the due process of law is initiated during investigation. If you say unreliable witness testimonies, that means Waheed was justified in saying that people were picked up who had nothing whatsoever to do with this particular case, and they were made witnesses. So therefore, their evidence was tainted and was identified by the High Court as unreliable. Torture-tainted confessions. Most important, mishandling of forensic evidence. Forensic evidence is supposed to be collected by the investigating officers and the forensic team together from the scene of the blast. You collected the forensic evidence and you mishandled those exhibits. What was the nature of mishandling? Will now be known in the body of the evidence as well as the judgment. Who is responsible for this? Can you say it is the competence of the officer which led to the mishandling of the forensic evidence? No. You are supposed to ensure whether the trial is held after 1 year, 2 years, or 20 years. The forensic evidence is supposed to be handled and retained, protected essentially so that at the right time it is produced before the trial court. So there is just fair.
That comes to utter incompetence at the moment. Total
Absolutely
incompetence.
utter
Whether the
incompetence.
officers were senior or not, these are serious questions that the officers will answer. Waheed Shaikh, आज जब आपने सुना कि इन लोगों को acquit किया गया है, आपका पहला रिएक्शन क्या था? आपने 9 साल जेल में गुजारे, इन्होंने कुछ लोगों ने 18 साल जेल में गुजारे, क्या कहेंगे आज?
देखिए, मैं तो जब 2015 में जजमेंट आया था तो मैं रो रहा था और ये 12 एक्यूज जिनको कन्विक्शन लगा था वो हंस रहे थे। आज सिचुएशन ये थी कि जब जजमेंट आया तो जो कैदी अंदर है वो भी रो रहे थे, हम भी रो रहे थे, सारे रिलेटिव रो रहे थे कि जजमेंट आया है लेकिन इंसाफ बड़ी देर से हुआ। जिन ऑफिसर्स ने, केपी रघुवंशी हो एटीएस के चीफ या एएन रॉय हो उस वक्त बॉम्बे पुलिस कमिश्नर, जिन ऑफिसर ने हमें मारा है, हमें फैब्रिकेट किया है, हमारी जिंदगी के 18 साल 19 साल बर्बाद किए हैं, उनका प्रोसिक्यूशन कब होगा, उनके खिलाफ सजा कब दी जाएगी, उनको कब जो है जेल में डाला जाएगा? इस तरह से नागरिकों को मारना, कन्फेशन लेना, झूठे एविडेंस घड़ना, उनको सजा देना, मौत की सजा देना, शर्म आनी चाहिए बॉम्बे पुलिस को, शर्म आनी चाहिए एटीएस को कि इस तरह से अपने शहरियों के साथ करते हैं। 19 साल उनके बर्बाद करते हैं, उनकी माँ बाप रो रहे हैं, इतने लोग मर गए हैं, जरा भी एहसास नहीं होता है, पूरी जिंदगी बर्बाद।
मीरन बोरवनकर who is accountable,
जो जवान थे लोग बूढ़े होके आ रहे हैं, उनकी दाढ़ी काली हो गई है, दाढ़ी उनकी सफेद हो गई है। कौन अकाउंटेबल है 19 साल देने का? मीरा बोरवनकर देगी हमको, केपी रघुवंशी देगा, कौन देगा? शर्म आनी चाहिए। इस तरह से चलाते हैं आप लोग, इस तरह झूठे एविडेंस बनाते हैं। 1 साल में मैडम आप कह रहे हैं केस को खत्म होना चाहिए, 19 साल हो गए हैं। इतना बड़ा केस 20,000 चार्जशीट 20,000 पेज की बनाई है, उसको ढोते ढोते जो है हम थक गए हैं, हमारी जिंदगियां बर्बाद हो गई है। प्लीज ऐसा मत कीजिए, आप किसी बेगुनाह को मत फंसाइए आइंदा।
You are making, Miran Borwarkar respond today to Waheed Shaikh. As of today, someone has to be held accountable. Someone has to be held accountable. There was a Congress government in power. Ironically, when the blast happened 2006, Congress-led, BJP-led government from 2014 in Maharashtra for the main part. So the political class will have to answer, but will any police officer answer, ma'am? Will the police be held accountable if it is proven what Waheed Shaikh says, that this entire case was fixed or the accused, so-called accused, were actually framed? Will someone be held accountable if that is also proven?
So I will not be able to make any statement about their being framed because we have an MCOC court having convicted them. But yes, wherever there have been procedural lapses, like pointed out by Advocate Merchant, we can definitely hold officers responsible and accountable. But to say that they were totally
Ma'am, today Waheed is crying. Ma'am, today Waheed is crying. वो रो रहा है. उसके 9 साल जिंदगी के चले गए. He has been meeting me for over these years, claiming I am innocent. उसने एक किताब लिखी है. Who will give back Waheed Shaikh his 9 years or these people their 19 years if it is proven that they were fully innocent?
So it's our collective responsibility, and I also used to meet them. When I was in the prison department, they used to meet me. I have shared their sorrows, their anguish. But Why should in India a trial take place after 9 years and appeal after 15 years? While I am accepting,
answer
we
that.
have also...
Rizwan, why should it take so long? The process is the punishment.
Rajdeep, if you see that charge sheet which was filed in this case, 20,000 pages. Those 20,000 pages I had an occasion to handle because I was initially appearing for Waheed in that particular case. 70% of that thing was trashed. The charge sheets are being compiled into 20,000 pages, 30,000 pages, so that the trial gets delayed and these people rot in custody without trial. This is the purpose of compiling such heavy charge sheets. The entire charge sheet of Waheed, when I was called upon as an amicus curiae to address the court, run into 40 pages only, which I utilized for addressing the court on the point of charge for Waheed. The rest was all trash, not used at all.
The rest was all trash. Waheed, आप क्या कहेंगे? आप इस प्रोग्राम पे मैंने देखा आप गुस्से में हैं. Okay, Waheed has left, but as you saw, Chirag, I want a final word. You've heard all these voices. At the end of the day, no one killed Jessica, but no one did the train blast. I mean, someone was out there conspiring, whether it was Pakistan's Lashkar, whether it was ISI, whether it was Simi. Waheed, क्या कहेंगे आखिर में आज? आप इस प्रोग्राम में रो रहे थे, गुस्सा था. क्या कहेंगे आखिर में? क्या चाहिए आपको?
मेरा ये कहना है कि गवर्नमेंट को, एटीएस डिपार्टमेंट, पुलिस डिपार्टमेंट को माफी मांगनी चाहिए. हर साल का 1 करोड़ रुपया कंपनसेशन देना चाहिए. हर एक्यूज को सरकारी नौकरी देना चाहिए. और मैंने 100 ऑफिसर के नाम लिखा है एटीएस के, जिन्होंने इस केस में हमको फंसाया है. सबको प्रोसिक्यूट करो, एफआईआर दर्ज करो, जेल में डालो. हमने 19 साल बिताए हैं, उनको 19 साल जेल में सड़ाओ, तो पता चलेगा जेल कैसे होती है. इस तरह बेगुनाह जेलों के अंदर सड़ते हैं, मरते हैं, रोते हैं, तड़पते हैं. मैडम तो जेल के अंदर भी जो है डीजीपी रह चुकी है. मैडम को मालूम है जेल काटना कितना मुश्किल होता है. जिन ऑफिसरों ने जानबूझ के फंसाया है, हमको जेल के अंदर सड़ाया है, उन एक एक ऑफिसरों को जेल में डालो. और जब तक इनको हम जेल में नहीं डालेंगे, हम छोड़ेंगे नहीं. आखिर तक हम लड़ेंगे इंसाफ की लड़ाई, कानून की लड़ाई.
Chirag, final word from you as a survivor. As you go home to sleep tonight, what will you say to yourself? What will you tell a Waheed?
I don't know I'll be able to sleep tonight properly because it's like seeing Waheed. I have a pity on him. I don't know, who's the real culprit because I was not the part of the, the entire team who did the investigation, nor I had tracked the case since last so many years. Coming to the point,
just want justice. You just want the right people to be arrested, convicted. That will give you a sense of closure.
Right, but ideally, if after 19 years we are, back to square zero, then where we would start from? Whom to blame? I mean, the investigation team or the judiciary, where we'll get the justice? It's not justice delayed; it's justice being killed.
That's right. It's not even justice being denied; it's justice being killed. 189 people, viewers, died on that tragic day of 7/11, exactly 19 years ago in the city of Mumbai. 19 years later, this acquittal places huge question marks over the way our criminal prosecution system in the country operates. To all my guests for joining me, thank you very much. Serious questions the Mumbai police cannot escape from. Okay, more big news now coming in. Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar has resigned. That's right. Big story. Jagdeep Dhankar has cited medical reasons. Remember, Jagdeep Dhankar has been in and out of hospital in recent months. Today the parliament session began, but now comes this dramatic announcement by Mr. Dhankar that he is resigning. He was chairing the Rajya Sabha. He's the chairperson of the Rajya Sabha. He was out there in the morning holding forth, and now suddenly at about 9:30 this evening has come the big story that Jagdeep Dhankar has resigned as Vice President, citing medical reasons. We're going to get you more details on that. Remember, Mr. Dhankar just a month ago had gone on a visit to Uttarakhand and complained of chest pain, was taken in to a hospital. That was not the only occasion. There was a previous occasion a couple of months ago where similarly he had complained of chest pain. So Jagdeep Dhankar has resigned on health grounds. That's the big story that's breaking at the moment here on the news today. Piyush Mishra, my colleague, is joining me with that story. Piyush, give us more reason, because only this morning Mr. Dhankar was conducting the proceedings of the Rajya Sabha.
Well, certainly, Rajdeep, today in the morning itself, he was conducting the proceedings of Rajya Sabha, and now what we are told is that he has put down his papers, he has resigned on health grounds, and his office has also tweeted a notification which says, and I quote, "To prioritize health care and abide by medical advice, I hereby resign as the Vice President of India effective immediately in accordance with Article 57A of the Constitution." He has also Vice President of India, the former, who is now former, he has also extended his deepest gratitude to the Honorable President of India for her unwavering support and the soothing, wonderful working relationship as he maintained during this tenure. Remember this, Rajdeep, in the last few months, we have seen how Jagdeep Dhankar was in and out of the hospital. He was also admitted in AIMS, where top leaders of the government had also gone to visit him, and during his visits to other parts of the country also, we have seen, Jagdeep Dhankar falling ill. Because of that, now what we are told is that on health grounds, Jagdeep Dhankar, Vice President, has now resigned from his post. He served as the governor of West Bengal, and since August 2022, he was holding this constitutional post. And today in the morning also, we saw him holding this office. He was conducting the proceedings of Rajya Sabha, but now he has resigned, and he has also expressed his deep gratitude to the Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the esteemed Council of Ministers. And he has also added that the Prime Minister's cooperation and support has been invaluable, and he has learned a lot during his time in the office. He further says, "I'm deeply thankful for the invaluable experiences and insights I have gained as Vice President in our great democracy. It has also been privilege and satisfaction to witness and partake in India's remarkable economic progress." So these are the words which we are right now picking, according to the resignation letter, which has also been uploaded on the website of Vice President of India and also on the social media account. In the past few days, we have seen how Vice President has been in and out of the hospital. He was also, his health condition. We have seen how not only Prime Minister but also the President of India has been taking information. We also remember that during his last visit to the state of Himachal Pradesh, Jagdeep Dhankar had fallen ill, and now on health grounds he has resigned from the post of Vice President of India.
But the question will arise, of course, Piyush, that here is someone who this morning was conducting the Rajya Sabha, did not seem any the worse for it. Suddenly, 9 hours later, he resigns. Remember, there was a large gap between the previous session, which ended in early April. We are now in the middle of July. During that period, Mr. Jagdeep Dhankar has been attending a series of functions. He's also made several remarks that have attracted headlines, including questioning the basic structure doctrine of the Constitution. He's also only yesterday endorsed the Prime Minister on Operation Sindoor, questioned those who criticized the government, questioned almost Donald Trump and his ceasefire announcements. He's been seen as a strong backer of the Modi government. This has also led to some criticism that he wasn't acting fully as a neutral umpire, as chairperson of the Rajya Sabha, but was batting for the government. Mr. Dhankar, for his part, maintained that he was only following the rule of law, that he was someone who stood by legal principles. Remember, he was a lawyer, a Supreme Court lawyer for a long time. He's taken also particularly seriously the matter of impeachment of Justice Verma, raising that issue and saying that the judiciary needs to be held more accountable. In fact, an entire division of power between Parliament and judiciary. On several occasions, Mr. Dhankar, a former lawyer, has been critical of the judiciary, also of the collegium system. So here is someone who in recent times has been making the headlines. He's not been a vice president who's been in the shadows, but a vice president who's been out there in the public domain making major statements. And to resign on the very first day of this monsoon session of Parliament will cast some kind of a question mark. Does this resignation, Piyush, come into effect as of tomorrow morning? Are we saying that tomorrow when Parliament reconvenes at 11 a.m., Mr. Dhankar will not be in chair? Has the Prime Minister accepted that resignation? Presumably that resignation has gone to the President. Sorry, has the President accepted the resignation?
Well, what we are officially told, Rajdeep, that this resignation letter has been sent to the Honorable President of India, and in the last of this letter you can read that Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar has marked Honorable President of India, which means that this letter has already been sent, and it depends upon President as to when he is going to accept this resignation. But after the acceptance of resignation, we can expect Dhankar to not continue his services as the chairperson of Rajya Sabha. But one thing very clear, that after this resignation, now there is very much now it also paves the way for the appointment of new vice president. So it remains to be seen who that will be. There are many names in the BJP, in the government, and also in the entire BJP organization. So any senior leader could be given the chance to become the vice president of India, and for that a thorough process has to be followed. But what is more important here is that Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar has resigned on the grounds of health, which is also a concerning point. We have seen him getting also.
I just want clarity. Will he be chairing the Rajya Sabha tomorrow morning or not? Or
well, as of now, till the time there is no acceptance from the top office of the country, from the President of India, he is likely to continue as Vice President. And after the appointment of a new face or a new leader, we can expect him to discontinue his services. But
and his
depends
term
upon when.
And his term was till 2027?
Well, absolutely, and that is why it is shocking and surprising. But yes, because of health reasons, Jagdeep Dhankar has to put down his papers as the Vice President of India.
Okay, so Piyush Mishra is giving us those details. We'll try and get reactions, including from Rajya Sabha MPs. Remember, Jagdeep Dhankar was someone who was accused by his critics of running the Rajya Sabha as a bit of a headmaster and batting for one side. That's the government. But his supporters said he was someone who was trying to bring about discipline and trying to ensure the minimal walkouts in the Rajya Sabha, and thereby was an effective chairperson. So he did divide opinion, Jagdeep Dhankar, and obviously given his proximity to the ruling government, questions will be asked about the timing. Why suddenly has he chosen? But he's made it very specific in his statement that he has resigned due to health reasons. So health reasons, Jagdeep Dhankar, who's had a few problems with his health in recent months, has submitted his resignation as Vice President. The only question that will come, could this have happened inter se, that's between the sessions? Why on the eve of the session has he chosen to do so? There will be, of course, an entire process of electing a new Vice President. Mr. Dhankar or the government certainly has the majority, so they will be able to get their person in. I'm just trying to get in also our other panelists. The last occasion, by the way, just as a bit of trivia that I can recall of a Vice President, Zakir Hussain, you will recall, passed away, I think, as Vice President, if I'm not mistaken. But joining me now, Aishwarya Paliwal joins me. Aishwarya, this news will come as with some element of shock and surprise. Jagdeep Dhankar resigning on the very first day of the monsoon session. Okay. Maushmi Singh is in fact joining us. Maushmi, you were there in Parliament covering it. This decision suddenly seems to have taken everyone by surprise. Very first day of Parliament session, Mr. Dhankar was there. Evening, he announces his resignation. What's the story?
See, Rajdeep, Mr. Dhankar has put out a letter and clearly cited health reasons. So, thereby, putting any other speculation to rest in his letter. But something, there is more than that what meets the eye, because had it been a resignation that was already slotted and was going to happen, there could be a bit of a protocol or ceremony, or the buzz would have been around in the Parliament. In fact, right. Mr. Dhankar, I will just state the facts as they are. Through the day was very much, engrossed in the the notice or the letter that
I'm just stopping you for a moment there, just for also clarification. Remember when Zakir Hussain passed away, he was president of the country, not vice president. So that was, of course, in the late 1960s. It led to, of course, the election eventually of V.V. Giri as president and changed Indian politics. But that's in the past. Mr. Dhankar has resigned due to health reasons. So I don't think that's ever happened, Maushmi, in the past, that a vice president resigns in the middle of a term. But go ahead, give us more details, Maushmi. Go ahead, please.
Rajdeep, I was saying that, there is, we have to report the things as they unfold. And, throughout the day, I did not hear any news or information that Mr. Dhankar was planning to step down. So that is really clear that it wasn't there out in the Rajya Sabha or in the parliament that any such step would be taken. So it is a step that he's taken, as he cited, health reasons. But throughout the day, he was involved in the impeachment notice that was given by the opposition members. There were a flurry of activities in the government circles after that, because the impeachment notice signed by opposition members in the upper house was admitted, and Mr. Dhankar also said it on record that notice has been admitted. He'll take a call.
I'm just stopping you because Priyanka Chaturvedi, Rajya Sabha MP from the Shiv Sena, is joining me on the phone line. Priyanka Chaturvedi, has this news taken a lot of the parliamentarians by surprise?
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Considering that the Vice President, Honorable Vice President and Chairman was always opposed to my stances and things that I did. However, it comes as a huge surprise to me that someone who has been so committed to the parliamentary procedure and to ensure that the parliament was running smoothly as much as the criticism came his way, the resignation has totally taken me by surprise, because he was very much in the parliament today and he was actively participating in the parliamentary procedure. So I wouldn't want to comment about this resignation till I don't know exactly the reasons, because health-wise, of course, he was facing these challenges, but considering he was actively participating today, I was hoping that his health was absolutely fine. But I wish him a speedy recovery if he is really having these health challenges.
I just want to put out that Article 67 of the Constitution, thanks very much Priyanka Chaturvedi for joining us. Article 67 of the Constitution, I'm going to read it out. The Vice President shall hold office for a term of 5 years from the date on which he enters upon his office, provided that A, a Vice President may, by writing under his hand addressed to the President, resign his office. B, a Vice President may be removed from his office by a resolution of the Council of States passed by a majority of all the then members of the Council and agreed to by the House of the People, but no resolution for that purpose of this clause shall be moved unless at least 14 days notice has been given of the intention to move the resolution. That's for removal. A Vice President shall, notwithstanding the expiration of his term, continue to hold office until his successor enters upon his office. Now, he can resign, but he will continue until his successor enters upon his office, is what Article 67 of the Constitution suggests. Aishwarya Paliwal also now joining me. Aishwarya, are you also surprised? Is everyone, as Maushmi said, Mr. Dhankar was going about his parliamentary responsibilities today, but here on the very first day, he resigns. Presumably now, the government will have to elect a successor in this session itself.
Well, definitely, Rajdeep, and the big question now will be who will come in his place. Rajdeep, till now, we were all keeping our eyes focused on who will become the BJP head next. And now, what we will see in the next 24 hours is the big question, who will now take the place of Vice President Dhankar? Because as Mosby was also pointing out, we were all in the parliament today and the proceedings were going as per schedule. We were all looking at when we will see the MPs signing. In fact, let me tell you, the Rajya Sabha MPs, almost more than 50 of them have already signed and saying that they want a motion to be moved in the upper house. So that's also something that we were very keenly looking at. Surprise, yes, shock and surprise in equal measure there, Rajdeep. We will now have to see what happens with regards to the BJP, who will now come in his place. That's also something which we will have to see now.
I again take your point, but there are challenges. The impeachment motion of Justice Verma is one of them. That, of course, will go through the Judges Inquiry Act, which is likely to be appointed by the Speaker of the Lok Sabha, possibly as early as tomorrow. But just give us a sense, Aishwarya, how did people see Jagdeep Dhankar? He was a bit of a polarizing figure. There was Priyanka Chaturvedi of the opposition saying he didn't always give the opposition the space they wanted. There was a lot of criticism. The opposition MPs even tried to impeach him. You will recall a year or so ago, that impeachment didn't work. They didn't have the numbers, but the opposition wasn't very pleased with it. The government was very happy with him.
Well, the government definitely was happy with him. And, we did see how you rightly pointed out, Rajdeep, the number of signatures that the opposition MPs wanted, they were not able to get the adequate number of signatures. The opposition, time and again, and, right outside the Makar Door, that's the place where most of them used to come out and say that the way in which the vice president, the chairperson of the Rajya Sabha, is behaving with the opposition leaders. So this was the allegation coming in from there. They used to say that the way he's treating us, he's not letting us speak, whereas the time that he used to give to those who were allies of the BJP, to those who were aligned with the BJP and to the BJP MPs was different. So that is what the opposition time and again used to say. And we've also seen, if you remember, Rajdeep, that very incident where fun was made, in a very mocking tone, we did see how mimicry was done of Jagdeep Dhankar, big furrow. The BJP also at that point of time said that you need to respect the chair. He's the vice president of our country. So all these things taken into account, polarizing figure, yes, we will have to see how the opposition reacts, because that's the
Right. We're having a bit of a problem with Aishwarya's audio, but as I said, Mr. Dhankar, was seen as a controversial figure. The opposition did try to impeach him. There was a question marks over the signatures of some of the opposition MPs. There were also question marks over some of the statements that he would make outside Parliament, which were essentially seen to be endorsing the government's view on every issue. Should the vice president be as neutral as possible was a question the opposition raised. The government, on the other hand, said that Mr. Dhankar would not be the kind who would be bulldozed by the opposition. He had strong views and he was entitled to express them, particularly on the judiciary. I have with me the letter that Mr. Dhankar has written as part of his resignation. He says, the warm trust and affection I have received from all the members of Parliament would forever be cherished, embedded in my memory. I express my deep gratitude to Honourable Prime Minister and the esteemed Council of Ministers. His Prime Minister's cooperation support have been invaluable. I have learned much during my time in office. The question will be, kaun banega Uprashtrapati? Maushmi Singh. Kaun banega Uprashtrapati? Aishwarya is still with us. I don't know whether Maushmi is there, but there are a lot of contenders, presumably within the BJP. There's so much of talk about kaun banega BJP president. That issue has been pending for months on end. Suddenly the BJP has a new headache. Kaun banega Uprashtrapati? Who do they make? Who do they find now who will fulfill the criteria of Mr. Dhankar? Someone who is seen to be proximate to the government. Who is that person likely to be? Venkaiah Naidu before him, now Dhankar. Who's likely to be brought out of the hat? Any names doing the rounds already?
And you rightly pointed out, we were all very keenly looking at who will become the BJP president. We had all these names doing rounds, and now the next 24 hours will be very, very crucial for the BJP and also for us reporters, covering Parliament. We will now have to see the name that comes up, the procedures that will be followed. How will the next 48 hours pan out? Because we have the Parliament session going on. Today was just the first day. Next 31 days is something that we will now keenly have to look at. But yes, someone who can manage the House, because the opposition was raising fingers, but the BJP was always coming and saying that what you are doing in Rajya Sabha, you are not respecting the chair. So we did see that Jagdeep Dhankar had the backing of the BJP time and again. The top leaders of the BJP used to say that what the opposition is doing in Rajya Sabha is not correct. So yes, we will now have to see the names that are doing rounds. But at the moment, it's too fresh, Rajdeep, for names to be out with regards to who the BJP will favor.
Right. Remember, if you look at the BJP's vice presidents, I think it was Venkaiah Naidu who was there for the first 6 years, of course, taking over from Hamid Ansari. Venkaiah Naidu was a veteran BJP politician. Dhankar had served with, if I recall, with Mr. Chandrasekhar, was very close to former Prime Minister Mr. Chandrasekhar, had switched a number of parties, comes from Rajasthan, but he was in more than one party, eventually finding place in the BJP. But Maushmi, what is the opposition saying about this? Have they been taken by surprise? I was asking Aishwarya who will replace kaun banega Uprashtrapati. She says that's very difficult to say. But how is the opposition seeing this? They have been critical, let's be honest, of Vice President Dhankar, saying that he has not been a neutral umpire.
Right, Rajdeep, the thing that I was pointing out to was that there was a discussion in the evening, and, the opposition leaders were very happy, and they felt very high about the fact that, in the Raj Sabha, they had been able to move an impeachment, give an impeachment notice to the chairman solely without the ruling party. And they said that, Ms. Dhankar had admitted that. Now they said that the government wanted that notice should actually come via the Lok Sabha, and the entire impeachment motion should happen in the lower house. And thereby, I even asked them the question that why didn't you take the ruling party MPs on board in the upper house if they had taken you on board in the lower house, where the signatures were done by all opposition and ruling party MPs. So it was a one-upmanship of sorts that we saw. And what I'm pointing out to is Mr. Dhankar was completely engrossed in the thick of things, knowing what's happening. He even said that the notice has been has been taken due notice of and will be admitted by tomorrow. So I really fail to understand that what caused him to really put up that resignation all of a sudden. There is something
one view, of course, is that this will ensure that whatever change has to be taken takes place during this session itself. You don't have to call Parliament again. But the fact that maybe Mr. Dhankar decided today, first day, symbolic, he would attend perhaps and then take that big call to resign of Vice President with immediate effect. I think that's an important line there. I am resigning as Vice President with immediate effect is what we are being told. We are hoping to get some opposition leaders and government spokespersons to react, MPs to react to what has just been heard. Remember the opposition leader in the Rajya Sabha is JP Nadda, and the Mallikarjun Kharge, whose birthday it is, 83rd birthday today, is the leader of the opposition in the Rajya Sabha. But the big news that really has broken this evening, Jagdeep Dhankar, Vice President of the country, has resigned to prioritize his health. We wish him well. We wish him a speedy recovery. We know that he's gone through difficult times when it comes on health grounds, and we hope that he will continue to contribute in some way or the other to public life. That letter which is playing on my screen.